I did, but I had I'd have to go on my other account. I had a prayer ready for our meeting for tomorrow morning, but because I do our prayer at the staff meeting, but I don't have it currently.
I'll do it. I'll do it. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, you have provided us this opportunity, which we have been taking advantage of for quite a while. And we are in a position where we now have to make sure that other men who also come to us get out of it what you would like them to get. We are responsible for opening the door so that you can act. And we ask that you give us the grace and the insight and frankly the ideas or solutions to make that happen as best we can. We would like to give you a playing field that is wide open, that you can make use of to touch the hearts of these men. I should say the souls of these men. So please help us in that. And we would be grateful, and hopefully we will operate to your liking. We ask you this in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
All right, let's jump right into the agenda. A lot of this stuff we've already went through in the 6-month planning meeting. Quicker, we don't really need to do an overview of the pod program because people aren't on here to, I thought we'd have, some new people that didn't make, we had more people on the planning meeting. We had, what, 7 or 8 of us.
Yes.
But we don't have as many people. If they got any questions and you are watching this recording, then you can talk to Tony, I, or Jack or I, if you have any questions. But I think the rest of us have basically know what's going on, and we've been to the pilot meetings, and we can explain it to you if you reach out to us. So I can say this, that man is you. We need to pick one. I gave the 2 of you, some ones to pick from. I don't know if you checked them out. I've seen a bunch of them now, watched them over and over. And I think there's 2 that maybe the best to choose from. I don't like the program at all. I said from the beginning, I just didn't know. But now that I've seen it all, watched all the videos, watch what the other pilot groups go through it, I do, and I'll express this at the next pilot meeting. I don't see any similarities to what that managed you to having a youth initiative. So I've seen it enough, and I'm disgusted that it really, but we're going to follow through on it. And the getting together of the young men has been good when it's done right. Pius X didn't. They had somebody that was good with That Man Is You, which is a good program and a great for a side program, but it's not great for the youth. It's not, I don't think it really talks to the youth per se, but we have been using that, and the questions afterwards and the talk with the youth, like the way 6-3 did it. It had Peter Land in there, and that worked well. They had a lot of young people, and they expressed some things, and we had some great ideas from there. That Man Is You, it didn't have any ties to it as far as I was concerned. It's a nice program, but it's not for youth. Let's put it that way. It should be separate. I'm not against having it again, as a small group, because a lot of the retreatants come from small groups, because they have their prayer groups and their men's groups and things like that, and men talking, and That Man Is You is great for that, but it has nothing to do with a youth initiative. So,
All right.
Well, I would agree with you there.
I'll
When I first looked at it, when Joe first put it out after the pilot meeting, I mean, it immediately eliminated, two of the categories and focused on the leadership. And even that, it felt like we were trying to shoehorn something into,
Yeah, exactly.
something that would be at least an hour, just to, if my memory serves me correctly,
Yeah.
shoehorn it into 20 minutes for the youth, to your point, Eric. And it was like, it it wasn't working for me, but I didn't have any suitable substitute, unfortunately.
Yeah, I wanted to give it a shot, and that's what I said from the beginning, but I kept saying that this doesn't fit. You know, what 6-3 did last year, they just brought a bunch of young people in and asked them a bunch of questions, which they did after that man is you anyway. So, but, you know, if they do it again, it just shouldn't be tied together. Youth, with the young adults and with, that man is you. They can be separate, but not tied in together. It doesn't make any sense. The extended adoration for the Carlos Acutis worked well. Actually, this weekend, 6-3 weekend, they opened up the new adoration chapel. And so with opening up the new adoration chapel, they just opened it up, and you can choose how long you want that to go on. If you want it to happen after her talk on Saturday night, if you want to have if you want to have it started, Friday night or Saturday, whatever you want to do, it's a nice little adoration chapel. And then just make sure, you have a sign up sheet where, we have a sign up sheet for the weekend where we have at least 2 people in there. And have people, if there is anybody, just like the oratories, make sure they know to lock it up. So there is a
Oh,
key, or, so adoration could go on, if we have enough people, we can have it go on all weekend. However we want to do it together, that could be something between us, what we decide to do.
now
But
that
that's just individual signups. That's purely,
No, it's like it's not like the adoration chapels. It's a whole, it's a it's group what are they called? Group adoration, where, there's a bunch of seats,
okay.
chairs in there, and people, so there could be, 1, 2, you try to have 2 people signed up every half hour, which is what we do. Some groups do it like in the regular chapel, like on Saturday night, and that's what they do. And we don't really need to have that as much, as long as we know that people, we can do it like that. We can also do it where we don't have to worry about it, but make sure people know, if you are the last person to leave, that you do turn the key, obviously, just like you would with the oratory, but along those same lines.
See, I would rather do it that way than have a sign up sheet. If people want to go in, they go in.
Yeah.
If there's no one there, you close
turn-
the door.
Close the door.
I think that's better than pigeonholing somebody into a time slot.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I
fine.
agree with that. I agree with that, Tony.
Fine. Okay. Yeah, I think that's what they did this weekend. That's fine, as long as, people, I think, are used to doing that with the oratories, but, we just have to really make sure,
Well, and I'll let Terry weigh in on this, because he handles our sign up sheets, and the logistics of the adoration, the room assignments, all that stuff. I'll let Terry weigh in on,
Well,
you
I
know,
give them their adoration. They don't make it,
complications.
I shoot them.
Say it again.
I said, I give them their adoration. If they don't make it, I go find them and shoot them. No,
That's
no.
quite a bold move.
Yeah. I introduce them to the Lord. If you're not going one way, you're going another.
Jeez.
So, no,
Okay.
we have no problem. We usually have.
God, I'm glad he's on my team.
You realize the NSA is recording this. You know that.
That, hey, I got in more trouble, believe me.
So, if we'll have to, if anybody has any questions about the merging of the 3 groups, I want to make sure, I'm sure Jack and I will do our best to really welcome your group, Tony, and make sure they know they're welcome. And, I know going from me, really excited that you guys are joining us. And it'll be great to see a packed house in there and, bringing another group in. I think it'll be great. And we'll do our best, to welcome all of your guys, And the same thing when, 9 years ago when Nativity joined our group, our weekend. I think everybody was welcoming and our groups have both gotten along great for 9 years,
All right.
I've never seen no problem, so.
One thing I was thinking of for, at least for my group, being the new guys on the block, is I was intending to encourage them, maybe for dinner Friday night, sit in your own groups like you normally do. But after that, like, break up and sit with people you don't know and get to know them, and encourage that,
Yeah.
during the announcements that, hey,
Absolutely.
intermix a little bit and get to know people.
Yep, absolutely, yeah, and I'm sure they will, and I've seen it before, not just in our two groups, but, other groups that have, gotten together, Um. There's,
And Tony, we did agree, I guess, via email that you're gonna open us up on Friday night in the dining hall.
That would be fine. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then however you two can work it out, like I said, who goes when and whatever. I usually talk on Saturday mornings anyway, unless Michael can't be there, then I usually come on, and do his talk and my talk at lunch. We could separate them too if Michael can't make it, I have to do Michael's talk. But, I
Do
don't
you
really.
know if you're gonna have to do the husband-wife retreat, or you?
No, I do that, sorry, I'll let you know. Yeah, I did find a captain, so that's great. A guy that's been doing it for a while and actually is on Pius X. I talked to him for a while. And then I talked to him again a couple weeks later. And he really, he was hesitant because of the fact that his wife has Alzheimer's. So, he, he, yeah, if you're gonna have a husband and wife retreat, usually they're both part of it. If, they're the captains. And
Mhm.
he didn't want to leave her out and, people asking why isn't she as much part of it, along those lines. But he's been on it for a long time. People know him and, I think he probably came around to, he doesn't want it to, they needed to change anyway, because the guy the Greg Valentine, he did a good job of it, but it was he too much like a dictator and had to have his way and, so I think it'll be a nice change, actually. I'm just glad I did find somebody to take over, and I'll stop down and help him out as much as I can, but I'll be up with you guys.
All right, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Now, skipping ahead a little bit,
Sure.
one of the things I had a question about is there going to be one check-in team or three check-in teams? How are we going to do that?
Three, that's what I was
Three.
gonna get to. We'll probably I was thinking, as you come in the dining hall, you'll be on the right, Tony. Uh, Jack, you'll be on the left, and I'll set mine up, at a table, kind of as you're straight,
Okay.
like coming in, and we'll have signs, I always, just 2 weeks ago, we have two groups that have been together for 6 years, Our Lady of Lourdes and Our Lady of Sacred Heart. But this time we'll just have, I'll be, as people come in, walking towards the middle of the dining room, I'll have mine there. Tony, you can have the right, Jack, you can be on the left. You'll have the computer, Tony, you'll have the RPS computer, I'll have my laptop. Jack, if you can have a laptop there, if you want to go in RPS. We do have, we might have a little problems connecting as it gets filled. Because, in fact, we put a dedicated line, over, against the wall where the credit card machine is and the other laptop. So you'll be all right. Well, we might have some problems, but I think we'll get through them if we do. you'll be all right, Tony, because you'll have the dedicated line to the laptops. You'll be able to just run a dedicated line if it gets like, once it gets like that.
All right, and I usually bring my personal computer anyway, so it's
You
like,
can
that's
do
not a
that
problem.
too, you know, however you want to do it. And, you know, we'll have the credit card machine at the end. You know, so if people want to pay, we'll have that. We'll have the payments in there. We'll have somebody there for that. We'll all have, crosses. The person who, you know, started the program is with Nativity, so Jim Catcherbone, who's had our development, I'm sure he'll be over there trying, you know, helping with the crosses there. I'll somebody or me help with the crosses. If you can dedicate somebody that helping like with the badges and the crosses, they're usually right next to each other. And, you know, you can have somebody hopefully doing that. I think it's
Wait,
everybody.
wait, what do you mean by badges? What do you mean by badges?
The holders, the lanyards.
Oh, all right, the name
You know,
holders.
usually what you have is at least two guys at the desk, checking in people. And then, you know, giving out whatever you need to there. Then you have
Okay.
maybe a guy, you know, saying, okay, you know, let me help you get your badge for you and make sure you fill out a cross. It'd be good if we had another guy also, because what we're doing, as you know, Tony, and as you know, Jack, with the check-in, we're not going full pay at all, but we are having, we'll have a deposit list of what people deposit. So a guy comes in and, okay, John Archer or whatever, you do it, give the thing. Another guy should be there to say, okay, look them up, say, all right, you deposited $75. Just want to know, you know, just let you know that you still owe 200. Now, you're not telling them, you know, if they do want to go and pay now, they can go down and pay now, you know, at the end of the table. Or, you know, or they don't have to. So there's no, they don't there's no obligation that they have to pay then. It's more of a, you know, letting them know that, hey, this is what you owe.
So what happens if they don't pay it?
It's still free will. So, you know, that it's not full pay yet. So, if this, you know, if the stuff that they brought up, I don't know if you saw I don't know if I I did put it on YouTube, but the, conclave and the things they went over at the conclave and different ways to raise money, because we were, you know, over 150,000 short for the retreatants, for the traditional groups last year, and we're finding ways to make that money up. So, you know, we're not going full pay. We are doing, you know, we are doing different things to try to get people to pay more and groups to help out. One of the things I did is I showed off at the conclave. I had my wife made 32 banana breads. So I actually sold them at the conclave, and then I went to mass and sold pretty much the rest of them. So I made $300 for our groups. I'm splitting it between three ways between our groups. Now that's only $100 extra a group right now. I'll sell them on the weekend, but it was just a way showing the different ways to raise money for the group. Some of the groups are doing 50/50s. Some of the groups are doing different ways to make up the money so that we can make up the shortfall that the traditional groups are short. Now, it's going to help also that we, you know, we're asking obviously for more. The ask went up from 260 to 275, and so it's gone up $10 average in that respect. But there's a lot of ways that we're trying, and that's one of the ways. It's kind of like a guilt in the men, letting them know, okay, you do owe $200, or, you know, you put your, you know, or, you know, letting them know you're fully paid up. You know, you're either fully paid, you know, you owe 200, you know, whatever. And of course, there's always different situations, but it kind of lets them know that, all right, you know, And if they have a problem, they could just, come to one of us too and say, I don't have, you know, I
Are you
can't pay.
still doing the cards and envelopes at lunchtime on
Yeah,
Saturday, or should
yeah,
that
Saturday
be
morning,
out at
yeah,
Friday night?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. They're still doing them. And I mentioned on my Saturday talk, I tell them that I'm gonna be here for credit cards after breakfast and lunch. And, if you have, you can still, that we have Venmo and you can still pay, with the green envelope, with cash if you want, checks, you can give them to me, or you can give them to your captains.
Or you
One
can
thing,
put it on a credit card and put it on like a monthly.
yeah, that too, the pledge cards too, yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it's just one thing we should, now we got 3 groups. Let's make sure we get out there. And obviously I'll talk about it, but make sure we do let them know that, hey, make sure you, even if you have a green envelope, put your group in so that we get as close as possible with all the groups, money wise, so we know where the money's going with the different groups.
Should we tell them to not put their name on the envelope, but put their group on the envelope?
Exactly, yeah. You don't really need to put your name on anyway. You don't have to, but we should stress putting the group on there.
Okay, and then turn it into your captain, so we try to keep them separated. Right.
Exactly, yeah, yeah. I mean, you can, but if I'm getting once, as long as I said, I normally on any weekend, if there's 2 or 3 groups, I have different envelopes for each group and I'll put it in a different, envelope for each group.
Okay,
Same thing. We just need to stress it, make sure, because I had one, like there was a new group in February and I'm getting stuff from the captains and I said, well, is this your group? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, I'm trying to get this as, close as possible. You have to help me out here,
Well, this is all stuff that I'm going to emphasize in the announcements somewhere,
yeah,
to make sure
yeah,
it's covered. But I'm also covering all this on my. I send out an invitation letter, and then as we get closer, I send out a "this is what you need to know" kind of thing.
yeah, yeah,
And I make sure that people know how they can pay, how much they're expected to pay. If they can't do it, see me. We'll make sure we make arrangements or something. I don't want anybody to be blindsided when they get there, and I don't want anyone to feel like they shouldn't be there when they
yeah.
get there.
Well, the confirmation letter, we worded that a little bit better too. A little bit more clear, in the confirmation letter that I sent out a week before to every registered retreat.
Okay.
So that helps a little bit too. We're finding different ways. So, we are trying different ways to make sure we make up the shortfall, because then we got to take it from another fund. And it's just, it's been that way for a long time.
All
And,
right.
they're trying to and that's why Michael really wanted to go to full pay. And we were going to do it with the pilot groups to try it out and then go full pay. But the retreat committee really came up a lot of good ideas to say, hey, listen, we need to make up this shortfall. And they came up with a lot of ideas for the different groups to make it up, you know? And it's always good. Like my group is always over 300. I don't have to worry about that. I'm not bragging or anything. I'm just saying that's something that I never had to worry about the average. But there's 3/4 of the group that don't meet the number, don't meet the ask. So, it's something that, needs to be done. We can't raise it 2 years in a row, so we're not gonna raise it next year. But I'm sure we'll raise it, again, the ask the year after that.
So if we warn people, if we do, you mentioned a 50-50, instead of a 50-50, if we were to do like 3 winners, something like that, break it down a little bit
Yeah,
and announce it ahead of time, that we say, a ticket's worth X amount, if you want to participate, bring X amount, in cash, and we'll sell tickets right there. Is that something that's feasible?
yeah, I guess so. I mean, I think, I gotta look at the numbers for your 2 groups. but I think, you know, I'll have to look and see what, if our numbers, you know, the groups that have that are usually like low numbers. You know, they're really down there, so they're average. But I think the averages of Nativity and Our Lady of Perpetual Help, I'll have to check them out, you know, and then maybe we do something like that, you know? Or maybe, hopefully we sell some more banana bread at least, you know, I mean, every little bit helps, you know?
Well, I'm thinking, I mean, usually at the breakfast, I do a 50-50.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, as it comes up, people start
Uh,
participating. But I'm thinking, you know, maybe we should have more than one winner. You know, instead of just splitting it 50-50,
yeah,
maybe if we have more than one winner, it might, you know, I don't know,
that's a
maybe,
thought. But I would have that at dinner. I don't know, you said you used to have it at breakfast?
yeah, we do it at our breakfast.
Yeah, you mean a breakfast, ahead, the breakfast
No, no,
Saturday?
no, Knights of Columbus breakfast.
Oh,
That we call.
gotcha, yeah, got
No,
it,
no, yeah, not a Malvern.
okay.
This is our own stuff.
Yeah, so I don't know,
But
Yeah,
we,
I want to think, I'm not sure I'm a fan of doing any fundraising at the retreat.
mhm.
I don't think that's the appropriate spot.
Yeah, and I'm not as big on it either. There's one to have it, like he says, ahead of time. Matt Tab at 57 raises a lot of money for their retreat ahead of time. They got a lot of recovery guys, so they raised a lot of money beforehand to try to cover all their, you know, the guys that are, you know, just coming out of recovery and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So you know, they have a couple fundraisers ahead of time. We probably couldn't do that, and you know, but we could think of different ways. The banana bread's you know, a good way where it raises a little bit of money, but also you're giving something back to somebody and not being, you know, my wife's banana bread, people love it, so you know, not going to be disappointed. I'll tell you that. But you know, we just keeping it.
Speaking of those initiatives, Bob Kilkenny get back to you about
The minutes.
the minutes and the slides?
No, but I have, I just sent I broke them up and I'm gonna put them on YouTube. I didn't get a chance to today. But, and then I'll put them again out in the newsletter, the captain's newsletter. And then it'll be like something on the training too. I already YouTube, put the whole thing on YouTube, but it breaks it down. It's broken down to 6 spots. Pat McKay's long talk. The talk between the two guys of Blessed Trinity, and then, you know, the other 4 groups who had the talks. So that that's all gonna be, that's all broken down for me. I'm gonna put them on YouTube. You'll be able to get them in the newsletter, and then I'm also gonna have them on the portal. So people will be able to go on the portal and say, oh, I wanna see, you know, I wanna see Tony Copa's talk again, you know, and things like that. Fred Dorso's talk, things like that. So we'll have all that. And then the training, we'll do the same thing with the training.
all right, another point. Your suggestion on the rooming, I'm good with that, but that doesn't match what you have on the website for registration.
Oh, that's okay.
On the website, it's mixed up. It's not what we said. So
Okay.
you may want to
Yeah,
check that and
I
change
noticed
that.
that. Yeah,
And for
Yeah.
those that are listening that don't know, what we're talking about is putting Our Lady of Perpetual Help in Immaculate, and third floor of Assumption if we need it, which
which is
kind of
pretty
doubt.
much what we did,
Uh,
yeah.
put Nativity BVM in Assumption, and put St. Joseph's in St. Joseph's Hall with Corrigan if necessary, or, you know, some mix of that. But that's
Exactly,
the
yeah.
basic way of doing it.
Yeah, and if you guys need carding going into that, you know, we can do that. And Tony and I talked about, I said, Jack, that, you know, when we did it, Tony would probably try to save some rooms on that second floor for you guys, the second floor of Immaculate, so that if you guys need, you know, some handicap rooms over there, they'll try to save some of those rooms for you.
Yeah, or just, we can figure, if we know ahead of time how many we need, we can mix and match, because Immaculate has an elevator. Which,
Yeah,
does it
absolutely.
work? Does
Yes,
the
yeah,
elevator
it's been
work?
working for a while, yeah, luckily, yeah.
I don't want to hear for a
Yeah,
while.
no, in other words, it was down for a while, but it's been working since then. It's been good.
Okay, all right, so that's not really a problem. So the only other question I have is, usually at dinner on Friday night, we honor all our deceased. And what I do is I put up posters around the chapel and at the halls, just listing them. But then we honor our deceased by calling out their names, ringing the bell, calling out the name, ringing the bell, have a moment of silence for them. How do you guys handle that, or do you handle that?
We don't usually do that, but we have them on the board. Any deceased, like over the last year, they always have them on the TVs, you know. But if you wanted to do that, I have no problem doing that, you know. Is
I
it
mean,
a deceased over the last year?
yeah,
Yeah,
just over the last year,
yeah,
since
and
the
then,
last retreat.
we'll have that too, you know, and if you want, you know, we can do all three groups if you want. Again, they'll be on, right, you know, they're on the TVs. They should be in the, you know, in the program that we have running all weekend.
All right.
They have deceased and, you know, and she'll probably put, you know, the three different groups, but
Well, I like the idea of making it of recognizing, calling them out. And if you want, I'm totally fine doing all three groups if you want to do that.
yeah.
You give me
As
the
long as
names and
I don't think the list will be that long anyway. You know, as long as it doesn't take up too much time, I have no problem with it.
what do you think about that, Jack?
I'm okay with that. I mean,
All right.
you know, like Eric says, we really don't do too much formally there other than to, you know, make a short recognition of it. Fortunately, trying to remember last year, there might have been only two or three from our group. I don't know how many were from yours, Eric, but
Same thing. I think there were like two or three, but you know, and you
If
probably
you
have two or three. So it's not, you know, there's probably 8 guys maybe, you know. So
if you guys give me a list, if the list is too long, we'll cut it down. But if the list
yeah,
isn't that bad, I'm willing to do that.
yeah,
Just say the
sounds
name,
good.
ring the bell. Just
Yeah.
give them some recognition.
Absolutely.
All right.
Sounds good.
What else is on the agenda that we need to look at?
Couple different things. We're gonna have buttons. There's like two different kind of buttons. It's just a small thing. You know, so we encourage everybody that if you were at the pilot meetings, there are ones that Blessed Trinity got, and I found some other ones for silence. You know, try to promote silence for the weekend. We'll have the Gregorian chant in the chapels and you know, outside the chapels. Um, a couple changes, I guess, you know about the new break room. It's in Our Ladies, the
Yep.
side wall, it's all done. The only thing they have to do in there is get doors and like cover up that area. Yeah, so it's soundproof, more soundproof. So
it's
there's
in Our Ladies. Where in Our Ladies?
in the Our Ladies library, the side library. If you're
Okay.
going in the library from the outside, it's the library on the left side of the chapel.
Okay.
You know, on the right side is where I'm going to be putting the history of the cross. You guys all know that the cross is there now, right? The cross, St. John Paul's cross that was up on
Yes.
Ceylon Avenue for 40 some years. Yeah, so
Mhm.
we're working on it. I don't know if it'll be if it'll be in by our weekend. But we'll see. We're working on it, and we have somebody working on it, and you know the cross might be there. I don't know if I'll have the altar there yet, but it'll be sometime this fall. We're looking maybe at October, but who knows? Maybe by our weekend, I find somebody to build the altar and we get the cross ready and ready to get in the ground, yeah, there's a better chance of the cross being in the ground and cemented in, but might not have the altar in yet. No,
Okay,
you,
So
do you know
who's
which module for That Man Is You you're gonna use for the youth program?
what do you guys think? I think we should lead a leadership, like you said, either session 1 or 2. I've seen both
Yeah.
used. Take a look at them, and let me know. Who's having problems with audio? He can't hear anything. Jack,
I can hear.
not
I'm
Jack,
good.
no, Tony, it's, I
good.
think your guys it's on,
Pardon me?
no shirt. He's got no shirt. He can't hear anything.
I'm not, oh yeah, I know who that is. Yeah.
All right, so maybe you could talk him through and get him, he's saying he can't hear anything. He put up a sign, no audio.
Well, he's one of the new guys that's first time Zoomer, so it's like
Is there any way you can help him or no? I don't know. Just a thought. He
I
can't hear
I
certain
will
words.
I'll phone him.
Over phone. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying.
Actually, both those are Mom and Dad and Bob Guidish are both my guys.
There he is. Yeah, it's mom. It's the guy that has mom and dad.
Let me I'm gonna
Uh,
mute myself and call him.
That's good. So, we just need to find different ways to promote it. I hope everybody likes the new flyer. I think it looks really good. Has everyone seen the new flyer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used it. I sent out, I think my number is 21. I sent 21 emails out. Not this past weekend, the weekend before, 21 parishes, mostly
Wow.
Chester County, and
Awesome.
so they're all surrounding the retreat house. But they're mostly Chester County and some Montgomery County, like St. Matthew's over in Conchie.
Yeah.
Went down as far east as Good Counsel
Awesome.
in
Yeah.
Our Lady of Good Counsel in Bryn Mawr. St. Elizabeth's up in Chester Springs was probably the most northern one.
It was just that.
But all around the area. St. Dennis is out in Havertown.
Yeah, Havertown. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, I don't need to go through them all, but I've gotten some nice responses back of from the people I sent them to, who said they would promote them first of all in the bulletin, and some of them have websites and so forth. I think they all have websites now, so at least I was able to get that out, and I gave them the choice of either a small blurb that I wrote for them to put in the bulletin, or if they wanted to do like I know Father Steve at St. Norbert's, my parish, they wanted to use the flyer and put it in as a full page to the bulletin. So it's in the hands of all these people, and all
That's
of them
awesome.
aren't going to do it. I know that,
No,
but
no, of course not. But you
I basically
out
kicked
there.
that out. Yeah, I kicked that out the week before.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome. I feel bad. I'm just doing it in my parish and I know they're gonna put it in. That's it. You went way behind. That's awesome. Good. I hope it,
That's okay.
you've been doing that. Is that the first time you're doing that or?
No, I started doing this. The first time I did this was about 4 years ago. Coming off of, I think it was right off of coming off of COVID. Um, when we were just coming back into things. And of course, I didn't get a heck of a lot of good responses back at that time. So it's gotten a little bit better. I'm a little bit more ahead of it than I was last year.
Awesome.
At least a month ahead of where I was last year when I put these out.
Yeah, we have tough. I know, like I'm supposed to do a pulpit talk, but even like last year I was going to, and I was like, nobody's coming to mass anybody. It's during the summertime. That's in sort of every group I hear from. Oh, we have this and we have this. I said even there's every group has things that they have to overcome. Ours would be you're right after Labor Day. At least you're after Labor Day, but trying to promote or try to get people in those 3 months during the summer, to try to get them going and get them registered, and get it going is a little bit tougher just because we're during the summer. That's maybe our,
Yeah, you're
our
better off going down to the beach towns and doing the pulpit
yeah.
talks down there.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's one of the things we have to worry about, but it's still good if we can get out there and do more pulpit talks. That's great. You're getting our flyer pretty much everywhere. I'm glad we got it out early and it looks really nice, and hopefully we'll get some good stuff for that, because we do need to get a lot more new people. I know my group didn't have many, and the numbers are down totally. It's tough. The numbers are up this year, but slightly. I mean, we were up 10% last year, and we were up 40% in new retreatants over the year before. So last year was a banner year. But and we're up, but we're not up by much. We're up by maybe 100 total not new retreatants, attendance wise, where we were up 10% last year. So, and I thought we had the momentum going, and even groups like 6-3 who were just here last weekend, their numbers were down, and groups that are actually out there really trying and doing different things. So it's been a little bit tougher this year than it was last year, and maybe we're losing those COVID people, and that's one of the reasons we moved it. We went back 5 years, and because we don't want to lose all the COVID people, now your invite list is 6 years. So it's basically the same. It'll be the same next year as it was last year, so we don't lose any of those COVID, the people from COVID that were here pre-COVID. So, a lot of people are trying some new things, but it's tough. We have to still keep getting it at it. But I think we all need to start contacting people earlier, like now, really start getting people to register early, and getting people involved in, it's been tough for me. I'm working on things, and I've been making some calls, but I'm gonna really get after people now, start now, and get more emails out there now, and getting things out there, and get a better start on it.
Do you send your associate captains essentially a spreadsheet of contacts, or do you expect them to go into RPS?
No, it's a little bit of both, but I do send them a little spreadsheet for them. Like, I break it apart and then send them, that I use that reservation status report. And if you do that, bring that up as a PDF, and then you can break it up to different parts, and then I'll send those retreatants along with that are under them. I'll send them that page, and send, to all my recruiters, so that they know those are the guys, and then it tells them if they're registered or not. And sometimes I'll do it a couple times. I do have to get that out. I'll get that out this week or next week to them. I wanted to have this, and hopefully get this out, and let them know that,
The majority of my associate captains do not know how to use RPS, don't want to know how to use
do that.
RPS.
Yeah.
So I actually do a download out of active retreatants, but I go
Mhm.
back all the way back to 2017.
Oh, okay.
And then I give them a spreadsheet. I email a spreadsheet of each person's group to try to catch those people that haven't been there for quite a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
And even though RPS shows it for 5 years or 6 years, whatever now, I go back even further and figure, well, if they make a call and there's no answer, okay, whatever.
How are you making out in so far talking to people about the switch at weekends? I do know there's one guy who put some stuff on Facebook, but he hasn't been out I checked him out. I actually tried to call him. His number wasn't available, but I sent him an email. Peter Kuzowicz, Kuzwizik. But he was
From
like a 30-year retreat, but he wrote some stuff on Facebook. They were saying that he hasn't been back, and I'm trying to get a hold of him. And once I do, I'm going to get a hold of you too, and you can call him. And he's upset about the moving, but he hasn't been out for like 5 years anyway. So,
He's
you
upset
know,
about the what?
he's a bit upset about the move on the weekend, but he hasn't been out for 4 or 5 years. Peter, you can look him up probably on your thing. He's probably still on there. KRYWCZUK. But the number that you,
If you would send me his name tomorrow, I'll
yeah,
look him up.
I sent him an email, or I'll show the email that I sent to him. And if you, because I think he reached out like twice. It was just the other day, but I didn't get a chance to get to him. And then I tried to call him today, and the number wasn't any good. There was only one number in there, and it wasn't any good. So we'll both try to reach out to him and talk to him. But you know, you think so far people are good or bad about moving?
I About moving.
Oh, yeah, about moving the weekend.
I've
It's
I,
hard.
I've had one negative comment because a primary player said, I can't do it. I need my parish that weekend. He's a music director, so we can't do it. Outside of that, everybody's been rather okay with it.
Yeah.
Nobody's really complained about it.
We'll see,
I
because
mean, that has talked to me.
yeah. I mean, your run numbers were up over 10 last year, I know. So I mean, like you'll get a feel this year if you know, people like it or not. And then, you know, you might even get some people that past years didn't want to go during the summer, now going and, you know, like it that it's at least in the fall a little bit, you
All
know.
right. And
So
I've been putting a positive spin on
yeah, of course.
doing it with the other groups. So it's like,
Yeah.
so far nobody has really complained or said, oh gee whiz, or what, other than one person who scheduling wise just absolutely can't do it, and he
Yeah.
wanted to do it. In fact,
Yeah.
he was always our soloist, but it just conflict.
On those, Marty's been coming out, but Marty Rotella he has a blood disease. And you know, he's been really sick for a while. He made it back, but then they found it was a blood disease. It's like almost pre-leukemia, you know, and he's going to have to get a bone marrow transplant. So he's been coming out. He doesn't look great. He looked a little bit better last week, I think, because he got some good news that his daughter, I think, is eligible, and they found somebody else that's 100% also, and so they're moving forward with it, you know, and we don't know how long, but there's a good chance, you know, in the next month he'll get the operation, and then he'll need time to recover. So he probably will be out in the next month or so, and then he'll be probably out till the end of the year. So we'll probably have someone else. There's a guy that's been filling in when he was out. Tommy Doyle, I think his name. But people seem to like him. He's a solo himself, but not as much since it's, you know, like Marty, but people seem to like, he's a really, really nice guy that I met him, really nice guy. So, you know, once we have better idea of Marty, then we'll go out and, you know, find somebody else to
Well,
do.
now I will tell you, this may not be all that exciting, but for years I basically led everything in mass a cappella. We had nobody, it was me.
Yeah.
And so I'm very accustomed to cantering. And
Yeah, no, but just kidding, Tony. No, I did no.
Why would I? As long as I don't have to sing.
Yeah.
listen, I can carry a tune in a bucket as long as the bucket doesn't have holes in it.
Look, I'm the only one. My wife hits me in the ribs and says, "Will you please shut up?" And I'm a man.
So yeah, I guess we'll see what happens, and you know, if we have somebody available, if we can. But Marty doesn't look good as of right now, but I still putting him in there. We'll definitely announce, you know, what your group does, and encourage, you know, both the other groups to do it. Like you said, you don't want to put it on the schedule because, you know, you can just make the announcement for the other groups to join your group, and it's after the donuts anyway, or around the time of the donuts,
Before.
right?
It's before the donuts.
Well,
We,
okay.
we go out and then the reward is to come back and have coffee and donuts at 10 o'clock at night.
Okay. So either way, you know,
That's on Saturday, right, Tony?
Right, Saturday night. It's after the last activity.
yeah,
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
come back.
And
I'm just looking at the schedule, Eric, just to,
Yeah, I was gonna go over it. You want to do that now? You want to go over the schedule?
yeah, I don't know how much else we have to discuss. Let's just do that.
Not
yeah,
too-
I'm in agreement with Tony. Let's do the schedule and then wrap if we have to.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, we'll have another meeting as we did last year, uh, you know, the Tuesday prior or something like that.
Well, I think the three of us or a group are gonna have to have an in-person meeting to do the rooming. Or do you think that's necessary or?
I think you and Terry can
I
probably.
usually, from my group, Terry
does.
handles that, pretty much, Terry's got that. We'll do an in-person either that, Tuesday or Wednesday right after Labor Day, Tony. In the past, I've usually had everybody come over my place and do it in person, to your point. But Terry handles,
I got all the
our
assignments.
rooming, and I just get out of Terry's way.
Yeah.
All right, well, Terry, what I'll do is when it gets closer, I'll get your contact information from Jack. And I'll try to pre-room my group
Okay, and that's what
and
I
send
do.
you that information and see what we need
As
to
long
do.
as you stay on the Immaculate Conception side and don't need assumption, we're fine. That you're only going to cross over if you need the third floor.
Yeah, which he probably will. He was at 90 some last year, so Immaculate holds 75, so he'll need, the third floor. But you guys will probably only need the first and second floors.
I
and
don't know. I mean,
We'll
we'll
work
see.
it, we'll work it out from there. I mean, even if we had to put some in Corrigan, like take a floor and use it at Corrigan, and I'll open up those rooms. I'm not gonna open, the only thing I don't open up the rooms until I know, because then if you open up them both, then, there's cross rooms. So if I'm told, okay, these rooms are for here, then I open up for this group.
Well,
And then,
well, Tony, how many do you usually have come each year?
We had 90 last year.
Okay.
Now I'm trying to build it up. So it's like, who knows? I can't really answer that. But I expect I come up with 90 and hopefully more than 90. We'll see.
Yeah. And we always
Okay.
throw them in Corrigan, if we had to, have some extra, along those lines. Yeah, other than that, the only things I'll have to say is at the stations of the cross, whoever is doing them, will just have to, when he put in a new book, he put in St. Alfonso, which is the stations that most parishes use. So the old ones, people were really there's some people that really wanted the ones that have been in Malvern book for a long time. So we couldn't fit them in, so we made a separate booklet for, like, if whoever is running the stations, if they want to do them right out of the book, then they can. Or if they want the old ones, there's a booklet that they can use that's in the chapels. So we'll talk about that as we get closer, but that's like the only difference there. Everything else in the new book, everybody likes it, other than the fact that people have been taking them left and right, and so I've been talking about it.
All right, let's go over the schedule.
Sounds good. So
do we even need to discuss anything on the schedule? I thought we've already pretty much did this.
Well, I have some stuff I'd like to just, bring up, let's put it that way. And, especially we have other people and we are recording it. So we did talk about where the three groups are gonna be. The welcome by the rector is a normal thing. Now, since Father McKay's doing it, he, he's gonna do the mass at 8 o'clock with the extended homily.
Yeah.
Right. So, he's been doing that people absolutely love it because they're done by like 9:15, 9:30 at the very latest.
Wait a minute, Eric,
Yeah.
share your screen. Put it up on your screen.
Right. Yeah. Might as well use it, right? There we go. There's the agenda.
Okay,
We'll
well,
bring
that's the
that up.
agenda.
Yeah, okay. All right,
There we go.
you can see that, good.
Yep.
So, check-in, we pretty much talked about, the welcome, something, if you guys want to, Father can do it either at the podium there, or he can do it before mass. He's okay.
Yeah, let him do it. Let's
Yeah,
keep
we're
it
running
normal and
late,
do
I'm
it right
just
at the
saying
podium.
He could do it, but he could do it either way, and it depends on different situations. He's done it, like right before his mass. He does the mass. The other thing is we could do, and I don't know how many, or if you do have any AA guys, if you guys have meetings or not. I don't think we have them, but I don't, you never know, because that's what it's all, AA is all about. We could have meetings for 25 years and I didn't know about it, because,
Our group does have an AA
Oh,
meeting. In
okay.
fact, I
Good.
have a guy that runs it.
Good, very good. That's awesome. Do you think it's better off, since we're out of there 9:15, 9:30, that we move it up to 9:30?
If we're done by 9:30, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I think, for why have them wait around till 10 o'clock? And I think the other
Yeah, but if
groups,
you've
Wait,
got
wait, hold on a
extended
minute.
homily, if you got extended homily, it's not going to be a half-hour mass.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
no, hour, remember, mass is 8 o'clock. So,
It's 8?
You
Oh,
got it here as
I'm-
9. It says 9 on the schedule.
It's Saturday.
Yeah, and I'm looking at my
Sorry about
pilot
that.
schedule that you sent out
It's
the
8
other
o'clock.
day.
It's Friday, yeah.
8 o'clock. The one I have here, I don't know where
Yeah, the
Oh,
one
that
you
wasn't-
sent out with the email with the
Yeah.
agenda says 8 o'clock.
All right, I'll
I don't know
fix
where
that.
this
I'll
one
make
came.
sure that's fixed, yeah, because the one I have printed out right here has it right. I don't know, I must have grabbed the wrong one, I'm sorry. So it is 8 o'clock mass. It'll be done by 9:15, 9:30. I'm sorry, I'll
So
fix.
move the open AA up.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring, to 9:30. I think and I think the other groups will probably, the other two pilot groups will be in with that too. Now, Bobby's group, they have a lot of AA guys. I think they would rather move it up to 9:30 too. So you guys do understand the mass with the extended homily? Just wanted to bring that up just in case. The flag ceremony on Saturday morning, Fred, if you guys in the Nativity probably remember Anthony Dorso. He's the one that, my associate captain, he brought the guys from Maryland, and he had a lot of guys he brought up from Maryland. He was incredible. He ran the rosary. He ran a bunch of different stuff. He got everybody. He was amazing. He was head of all the recruiting for all of Maryland for the Knights of Columbus. And this is 2 years ago. He passed, and his brother, who's a big recruiter with Our Lady of Fatima, gave me. He's a veteran, and he gave me his flag. So we used his flag. I took down the other one, and we put his flag up for Our Lady of Fatima, and of course for our group, I'll put his flag up. Maybe we can mention something about Anthony Dorso that's his flag that is up there. Just a small thing I wanted to bring up. After breakfast, I'll probably do my talk, which is only 5 minutes anyway. Reconciliation services confession have been going great. They've been getting done at like 11:15, between 11:15 and 11:30. Even last 2 weeks, it looked like we weren't gonna have enough confessors. They looked like they were only gonna have 5. A little bit of panic. We ended up having 10 in both of them, and it was done by like 11:15.
I
3:30.
see
Eric,
Yeah.
this
the
is the
schedule
wrong schedule.
God has that man is you in the afternoon.
What I did, that's the schedule that for 6-3 group. I'm sorry about that. No, that schedule is wrong. Now, in the schedule I have here is the one we are using, where we're having 2:15 is the young adults section,
Right.
uh,
Right.
that issue, yeah, like, that's what we talked about, and that's what I think all three pilot groups are gonna have, so, I'm sorry, so there's obviously nothing after 10:15, and then at 2:15, I have in here the young adult session, which will be in, St. Joe's conference room, and I have free time also, so for the people that aren't going to be, part of that, but that's one thing I really wanted to make clear, that we really need to find these young people and make sure they're invited and have special emails going out to them and people calling them. And I sent you all both of you the list of your groups, and I have one for mine. But one thing I noticed with mine, the ones that are, I put the people that are under 40, but also the ones that didn't have birthdays. Because what I noticed with my group, when I looked at them, at least half of them, just by looking at them, I knew they were sons. So they were young too. So we need to find out, get those birthdays and find out if the people that don't have birthdays, if they are young people or not. You know what I mean? So that's why I included them. I put everybody's under 40 and then the people that didn't have birthdays, because we need to find out. Like I said, half of them I know are young because they're sons of the fathers that have been coming for a long time. So that's something we really need to get out there as captains. We need to get out there, get after the associate captains that are bringing them, and make sure we do have a good group for that the young adult session, you know. So I think we really need to get after that. I'll have answers there. I'll have other stuff for people to go over, but we also need, between the three groups, we need facilitators. I would like to have somebody that knows about that manage you to talk about it for, just a couple minutes before we put that on. Somebody that, if possibly, if we have somebody between the three groups that knows that manage you, and he doesn't have to be young. But then we really need young facilitators, because you break off in groups, like they had about 20 people last weekend, right? And so they had two groups that broke off in the conference room, and then there's a side room. So they had three different groups, and then they had three different Peter Land was one of them, and they had two other facilitators with questions, little small groups of the young men. So we do need three total, I would say, facilitators, depending how big. If we have 30 people, we really should have like four. You know what I mean? So we do need to seek out those young people, make sure we have facilitators. And if we do have somebody that knows that man's youth program, Pius X had somebody that they didn't even do a youth thing, but at least they promoted that. They didn't promote their young people either. They didn't have they didn't even have any young people. Actually, in the break where it will be the breakout room, they had a bunch of young people doing something in there. So it was disgusting to me. I was pissed off. But we should have 20, 30 young people from the size of our group. And then we need people just to facilitate the small group discussion that we're gonna have afterwards. I'll have snacks in there, maybe some drinks or something like that to, something. They had pizza. They had like, because theirs was during lunch, so they had like pizza. They wanted them to eat there and talk. But either way, I think we'll be fine if we just have to do the setup ahead of time. And I know it's extra work, but I do think it's important to reach out, even though we're not big on that, man, as you. The talk afterward, if it's set up and have the right people, I think that really worked out really well.
Okay,
So the next thing is the last 2 weekends, they did this, and I think it worked out well. They actually had and I want to make sure that it is okay. But they had the mass. Now we have too many people. Forget that. I'm sorry. We can't do that. They had mass at the Chorus Acutis, but it doesn't have room for all of us. So I don't think we can do that on Saturday afternoon. But then, of course, the her talk, Mary B's talk it says 4:15, but I think we're gonna change that to 4:30, because by the time they get done mass and then walk over there, it's a little bit easier, I think, the last 2 weeks, because it was in there and it was just a short break for people to go to the bathroom, whatever, and then she started her talk. But I noticed the other times where the mass was somewhere else, it didn't start till about 4:30 anyway, so we either change or expect it, it's gonna be probably around 4:30.
All right.
Captain's Invitational, obviously is very important for all of our groups. And, we can just, Nativity's usually met right in the lunchroom. I think we went in the captain's room. We can, but we can just have two groups meet or Tony, if you wanted to meet somewhere else, for your group, that's fine. But that should only take 15 minutes. And then we can have the rosary outside like we normally do. I told you that we have it, Tony, and now with your guys, we'll definitely have enough people. The rosary that our St. Joseph group built, it's right there. It's a big rosary. You have it right out on the lawn, and it usually does really well. Tony, do you have any deacons or priests on your group?
I've got deacons, but I never know who's going to come. I've
Well,
got several deacons, and we had a priest that was not certified by Malvern, so he couldn't act in any kind of priestly manner. But
we would get.
I can't even get a hold of him anymore.
Oh, geez. Well,
His-
if we do, we have to decide if we want to do, like if we have a deacon or a priest, we didn't have exposition last year after night prayer. It's up to you if you want to have that or not at all. We didn't have it. And one of the reasons we don't have any more deacons. So we just didn't have it. And you have to have it. It'll get a chance for them to start to walk to the grotto earlier too, if we don't have exposition. So
yeah, I mean,
talk.
no, wait a minute. If we have extended adoration
yeah,
in the chapel, why do we need exposition?
I agree. I don't disagree. I'm just bringing it up. We didn't even have it, like I said last year. I don't think we need it.
I don't think we need it either.
Yeah, and that's something that the retreat committee bring up, and I'm just gonna take it off this year. They really wanted it, so I said, okay. And I think I put it in there earlier, and I put optional because hit the groups don't do it anyway. And now we have the adoration chapel. There's no need for it. There really isn't. So I'm going to take it off of the schedule next year as it is, but I wanted to at least just bring it up. Other than that, do we want to do face sharing on Sunday?
I always thought that's a real good thing.
Okay. Now just asking, because, we don't have the conference again. This is the first, they're just doing this on the pods where we're doing again the mass with the extended homily. Then only the pods are doing this. And, so with face sharing at 9:00 and it is on the schedule, they have mass with extended homily at 9:40. If you guys want to just keep that,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that idea.
Yep.
All right, we'll keep that, and just one of us will have to, one or two of us monitor it, start it, and then you gotta make sure just some guys don't go off too much, or go too long, so people do get a chance, and not having to shut it down, it all depends. So those are pretty much the only, things that I wanted to bring up the schedule. And I'm sorry that is not the correct schedule up there. That's the one they used for 6-3 group.
Okay, we got where we needed to be.
Yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant.
All right.
All right.
Anything else on, I think you covered your whole agenda there, Eric.
Yeah, pretty much. What else I noticed lately, and it's been brought up, we should I'm gonna start a text chain too for my guys. I'm not sure how or what I'm gonna say, but it does seem some of the captains have tried it. And, you know, they say, I call these guys 5 times. Nobody ever calls me back. I text them and a minute later they text back.
Yeah, nobody phones anymore. Nobody
Yeah, I
phones.
know it's just, you know, in fact, I'm listening to a book on marketing. And even the guy doing it, I'm networking, I'm sorry. And he says, my daughters, I had to figure out, every daughter is different. You know, the one daughter I call her a million times, I text her, she texts right back. The other one uses WhatsApp. I text her, late, she doesn't get back to me, call her, WhatsApp, if I do her, she gets right back to me. So I guess just one other thing we all should look at, and I talked to them about in training to start bringing that up. If you can start text change for those people that's the way to communicate. So,
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a text chain. That's really hard to do. But I mean, a text invite, yeah.
yeah, it's something along those lines. So I think that's all, other than, you know, basically, Carlos Acutis, you know, we're gonna find on July 1st, that he's gonna, you know, he's gonna be, made a saint. So July 1st, I think they were talking about either next March or October even, around his birthday. So, that'll be a great thing for Malvern, and hopefully help to bring people out too, especially young people.
All right.
All right,
Well,
guys.
I think we
Right.
covered everything we need to cover right now.
All right,
Right.
And you know, it's almost 8:20, so it's
all
A
right.
little-
time to call it in.
I'm a little
Right.
behind, but I'm not too bad.
Take care, guys.
Excellent. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thanks, everybody,
Yeah.
for coming. Take care.
Yeah.
All right, Eric, thanks for putting all this together.
All right,
And
thanks.
you know, I'm thinking maybe, you know, in a short period of time, the three of us should get together down at Malvern and you know, see what kind of loose ends we have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I
maybe
said,
actually-
Tony, I
maybe in
usually,
July
I usually
sometime.
set up I'll always set up
Oh.
you know, a last and final prep meeting. It'll be Wednesday night of the, right before the retreat. I think that's September 4th.
Yeah, I think
And
Tony's saying,
Wednesday,
I think Tony's talking about like meeting a member like a month before, you know, a
well,
month before,
whatever,
you know,
whatever works.
that's what you're talking about, right, Tony?
Yeah,
Like,
sometime in July.
oh, okay, so about next month, you're
Or
saying.
actually, you know, no,
August.
okay, I forget
For
we
us,
have
it'd
August
probably
in there
August,
too.
yeah.
So
Yeah, so I would say early August, we can get together, at least just the three of us, captains, and offer the other guys to come too. We can definitely set that up, you know. I'll
yeah,
get
at
some, you know,
at that point, I would like to go through the announcements
yeah.
and the assignments and figure out, okay, who's going to do what.
Yeah, and you know, I'm always there, so I'm there 24 hours a day, it seems. And you know, it's more you, Jack's at least close by, so just finding a night that he's free. He's only 10 minutes away, I think, and you know, you're the one that's got to come down, but you know, so
Yeah,
I think
okay.
it's a great idea. Yeah. And if you
All
want
right.
to do an organizational meeting, if we have one in August, we can do that to the third Thursday, you know. So we'll talk about it. We got time. Let's
All
just
right,
get
very good.
going, you know?
Well, good night all. Thanks for joining, and
Yep.
we'll
Stay
see you in
cool.
September.
Stay cool.
All right.
Yes, thank you very much.
Stay cool.
Okay.
Take care.
Take care.
See you.